I think most of you are our master students, but we have some external guests as well, and we are very happy to welcome you all. As you know, we have a very special guest today, Miss Joanna. I will probably not pronounce your name correctly. It's Płotnikowska or something?
Oh, it's Płotnikowska, but it doesn't matter. It's good. It's fine. That's fine.
And how we came across her work and your PhD supervisor's work was that I was doing some research with Narcisa, and we needed some theoretical model to refer to, and we at some point we found just fragmented models, but we were very happy to come across your model that was a sort of integrating everything, putting together a model of children's deception as it evolves over time, from simple actions to complex reflections on reality. So I think you will probably hear a lot about that today. And so we can also tell our guests that our students are mostly from the legal psychology. I think maybe we have some other colleagues. But we can all of us think about what we hear today and try to imagine if these can be translated into legal implications for children's testimony. As we know, it's very important to assess their competence and their abilities across time, so we can all the time think whether, okay, this child who has 4 years and is capable of this type of deception can be detected or can be a reliable witness. So I think you will see the relevance for the legal field, and you can of course ask questions and we can think together about them. We also have a list, and what is important is that on the list you also give the signature for the agreement for taking pictures or making the video recording. That's useful for us to have. And without further ado, I will just give the floor to our guest, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you very much. So, hello everyone. This is great pleasure to be here. And first of all, I want to thank Laura for her kind invitation. And here you can see our topic for today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about prosocial lies and how these kind of lies might be used as social tools by children. So I want to start from giving you some information about prosocial lies and from describing you why prosocial lies are in some case an exceptional kind of lies. So let's start from some information about most type of lies, and then I will try to compare prosocial lies with most typical kind of lies. So, the first important thing is that most lies are rather negatively rated by both adults and children. The second important thing is that they lead to lowering social trust. So, if people lie to each other, they have lower trust to the whole people around the world. And the third important thing is that most lies, I think that all lies, violate the maximum of quality in communication. But let's see now what prosocial lies are. And in line with our model, these kind of lies are lies that are told to benefit of other people, regardless the motive that underlie this kind of behavior. And these type of lies are exceptional because they are really more positively rated by people. And these positive ratings were made especially by adults, and younger people, for example, children, tend to think that prosocial lies are also negative behaviors. And the second important thing is the rule that prosocial lies have. And one of the rule is to make the relationship between people better. So, for example, if you falsely price your partner's hairstyle or something, he or she would be happy and probably be more close with you. And for example, if you say, "Oh, I really do not like your hairstyle, it's awful," it probably make the relationship worse than before. And the last thing which I want to mention is that this kind of lies, for example, false praises, are in line with the principle of politeness, which is one of the most important communicative maxims. So as we can see, in case of prosocial lies, there is a big conflict between two important maxims of communication. The first one is the maxim of quality, as I've said you before, and the second one is the principle of politeness. So in some situations, for example, in politeness context, the child have a problem whether to choose honesty or to just be polite. And these rules are, we can say, in conflict in this kind of situations. And in my presentation today, I would like to give you more detail about this conflict and child behavior in this kind of situation. So, the first type of prosocial lies, which I will discuss with you, are false praises, and I've just give you some examples of them. However, it might be useful to see the definition. And we can say that false praises are expressions of more positive emotions or opinions about some events and some people. And I think it might be useful to see a short movie. I'm not, if you are familiar, I see your smiles, so maybe you know that TV series. And I want you to watch a short movie to see a person who is unable to provide others with false praises.
All right, Sheldon. There's only
Yeah.
one thing left I want you to do. Don't worry, it's an easy one. Okay. Give me a compliment. Fine. You have very tiny hands. No, about my job. I want you to tell me I'm good at what I do. You're obviously good at what you do. Then why are you always ripping on me? I understand the confusion. I have never said that you are not good at what you do. It's just that what you do is not worth doing.
Okay, I think that part is enough for us. As we can see, there are even some adult people who are not able to provide others with false praises in a, I think, socially accepted way. We can just imagine how difficult it could be for young children if even adults have a problem with such kind of situation. However, it is already indicated that even children use prosocial lies for some purposes. For example, it is indicated that they use false praises to make other people feel better, or to just be polite, or for some egoistic reasons, for example, to make a good impression or to avoid negative consequences for oneself. So as we can see, there are at least a number of reasons why children tell prosocial lies to other people. And what I want to show you next is our theoretical model of the development of false praise telling, because for me, as a developmental psychologist, the most interesting part is development of some important phenomena. And what I would like to start is that there are some results that suggest that even very young children start to tell other people false praises in some familiar contexts. For example, there are some results that suggest that children under the age of 5 can falsely price the gift or falsely price someone's appearance. However, what I should say is that such kind of behavior, even though they appears in lab setting, they are really infrequent in real life. So basically, children usually told the truth about someone's appearance, about a gift, or something like that. And why these children infrequently use false prizes? I think that this is because of socialization. You may be familiar with such kind of messages that parents direct to children. For example, it is forbidden to tell lies. And it is said regardless the context. So children are socialized to be truth tellers, not to be lie tellers. However, children are good observers, and they usually can see such a situation when their parents and other socializational agents tell false prizes and other kinds of lies. And this kind of observation, I think, that lead to two things. First of all, it leads to a reflection about the behavioral and mental consequences of false prize telling, and it leads to acceptance of false prize telling. And because children start to reflect that maybe false prize lead to someone to a better move or something, and that is why I can say such a thing in such context to be polite or to improve someone's mood. So I think that is why the number of false prizes will increase from 5 to 7 years of age, because of this reflection and this increase in acceptance of false prizes. So that is because that is why I suggest that false praise will appear also in unfamiliar context and become more frequent. And in line with this theoretical model, I suggest that between ages from the age of 5 to 7, there will be a clean mean level change in false prize telling. In other words, that the number of children who tell another person a false prize will rise from 5 to 7 years of age. We also hypothesize that false prize telling is an individually stable characteristic. In other words, we can say that those children who start provide other people with false prizes will continue to do that at later ages. And I also think that because increasing ability to deliberate on the consequences of false prizes, children start to justify their own false prizes using the emotional terms. So I think that emotional justification of false prizes become more frequent with ages. And the last but not least thing is that, in my opinion, false prizes may lead to better social competence rating. In other words, I suggest that those children who provide others with false praises will be rated by their teachers as more socially competent. And to verify this hypothesis, we've conducted a longitudinal study with three time points. We started from the age of 5 and finished at the age of 7. We've got 164 participants, and all these children were Polish native speakers. So our participants participated in the procedure named art rating task, in which the child gets some drawings. As you can see, some are good and some are bad. And they have to classify these drawings into a good and a bad pile. And after the child finished this task, the experimenter assistant came in and brought her own drawing. And I think that we all agree that this is unsuccessful drawing. And she had a really sad face and asked the child whether her drawing is good or bad. And the child had to decide whether to put the drawing into a good and a bad pile. And I think it might be useful for you to see the procedure. Now you can see the whole procedure, and after you see the procedure, I will be back with a presentation. So please watch this short movie. Okay, so as you can see, this child not only put the drawing into a good pile, but also provides something more. Even before she asked the child to sort the drawing, he said that, oh, this drawing is good. So it was something like more spontaneous false prize. Okay, so as we can see, this child provides a clear false prize to another person. Let's now move on to the results of our study. And as you may remember, our first hypothesis was about the mean level change. And what we have found is a clear mean level change from both 5 to 6 years of age and from 6 to 7 years of age. So the number of children who told a false prize in this paradigm increases from 5 to 6 and from 6 to 7. So we can conclude that there is a clear developmental change in the number of children who told a false prize in this context. What's more, we also want to find whether false prize telling is individually stable characteristic. And what I should state at first, because we have only a binary data, so the child provided a false prize or not, we cannot think about stability in a classic way. As you may be familiar with, we can say that a characteristic is stable if almost all or at least more than half of participants have relatively constant position at the first and the second time point. So as you can see here, okay, great. So as you can see in this example, only 2 participants changed their position. However, we can also have some characteristics which are unstable, and in this kind of characteristic, we observe that most participants change their relative position from time 1 to the second time point. However, as I've told you before, we have only binary data, so we can only observe unstable or stable behavioral patterns. And what are stable behavioral patterns? We can observe 2 kinds of these patterns. First is the one in which children provide others with false prize at both the first and the second time point. And the second stable pattern is telling the truth at both time points. All other behavioral patterns are unstable. So, as you can see on this graph, we found that stable behavioral patterns were much frequent than unstable behavioral patterns, both from 5 to 6 years and from 6 to 7 years of age. Although we have observed a mean level change, we also observe that false price telling is individually stable characteristic. However, we want to have a more clear picture of this individual stability, and that is why we also decided to analyze the whole pattern of behaviors at 3 years period, and we found that the numbers of children who told the truth at all the time points or told a false price at all the time points were really frequent in our sample. And among the children whose reactions were unstable or partially stable, the more frequent are those who change their behavior from the first to the second time and continue to tell the false price from 6 to 7 years of age. So we have an additional argument that false price telling is a stable characteristic individual from the age of 5 to 7. Let's move on now to our third hypothesis, which was regarding justification of false praises. And we hypothesized that the number of emotional justification will rise from 5 to 7 years of age. And this hypothesis was only partially supported because we've observed an increase from the first to the second time point, but there is no increase from the age of 6 to the age of 7. So we can say that this hypothesis is only partially supported by our results. And now I just want to describe you the results concerning our last hypothesis. And to test hypothesis about the relation between false price telling and social competence, we include an additional measurement point between 5 and 6 years of age when we have a meeting with all the teachers of our children. That was a really hard to do, but we managed it. And we ask children to rate social competence of the child from their class. So basically, teachers filled a peer social maturity scale. As you can see, this is rather a short instrument, and but with a good quality. So what we have observed is that when we include some social understanding, understanding variables in our model, for example, understanding faux pas or understanding second-order false belief, we found that only false price telling is a significant predictor of social competence. So as you can see, maybe surprising, such variables connected with social understanding with theory of mind are not significant predictors of social competence, whereas false price telling is a significant predictor of social competence in our study. So we can say that those children who priced the author falsely at the age of 5 were more likely to be rated as socially competent at the age of 5.5. So to conclude this part of the presentation, we can say that there is a clean mid-level change, as I told you before, and that false price telling is an individually stable characteristic of a child. And we partially confirmed the hypothesis regarding emotional justification of false prices, and we indicated that social competence is connected to false price telling. So most our hypotheses were confirmed in this study. And now I want to give you some information about the other kind of prosocial lies, which are interventional lies. these kind of lies are told to prevent someone from being a victim of violence or to being a victim of moral transgression. And this is really unstudied phenomena. There is just one study which relates to interventional lie telling. And this is indicated that interventional lies might be told by children from the age of 5, however, only in some circumstances. For example, when the harm for a victim is clearly established to the child. And what we want to find in our study is to ask when and how children decide to tell the interventional lie in a particular context. And we also want to find whether there are some socio-cognitive abilities that are related to interventional lie telling. And to answer the first question, we decided to base on Walczyk et al. Model of deception. And these authors posit that while deciding to tell a lie or to tell the truth, children engage in something like a quasi-rational cost-benefit analysis. So basically, children evaluate whether the consequences of lie telling will be higher or lower than consequences of telling the truth. And if the benefits from telling the truth are higher than benefits of telling a lie, children will probably tell the truth, and in the opposite situation, they would probably lie. And there are some results from the studies on prosocial deception, for example, from the studies regarding false prices, which indicated that children are more likely to falsely price other person when the consequences for them are better. So when the cost was higher, cost connected with lying was higher, children were not likely to lie. Moreover, it is also indicated that lies that benefits other person are more likely when lie telling is not costly for the child. And this is also indicated that concealment of parental transgression is more likely when a child cannot be blamed for the lie themselves. So we have some results which are in line with this model. However, this model were not tested according to interventional lie telling. So, basing on Walczyk and all models and basing on this kind of results, we suggest that children would probably be more likely to lie, to tell interventional lie, if the benefits connected with lie telling are higher than costs. And we also want to check whether there are some socio-cognitive abilities that are related to interventional lie telling. And we suggest that because interventional lie is a kind of prosocial lie, it might be related to other type of prosocial lies, for example, with false price telling, because both this kind of lies are connected with the benefit of another individual. Moreover, both this type of lies requires a child to solve the conflict between some social norms which are conflicted in these circumstances. We also suggest that maybe some theory of mind ability might have an importance here, because there is really well indicated that lying is connected to false belief understanding. For example, we have two meta-analyses which confirmed that these variables are related to each other, although, as you can see, the effect is not very big. And we suggest that among this theory of mind ability, the most important will be ability to understand that people can hide their emotion, because we can think about hiding someone's emotion as an act of deception. And it is indicated that some kind of emotion understanding is related to other-oriented lies. So that is why we suggested that theory of mind, especially understanding of hidden emotion, will be linked to interventional lie telling. And to test this hypothesis, we've conducted a study in which we've measured interventional lie telling and created 3 experimental conditions, which I will describe you a little bit later. We also measured false price telling and theory of mind using the whole Wellman scale. Let me now show you how our interventional lie telling task was introduced to the child. And first, we start from explaining the child that there are 2 children, 2 protagonists, and both of them offered the child to get offered a prize for the child. And in the control condition, the prize was the same. The prize from the aggressor was the same as the prize from the victim. So basically, both of them offered the child just one coin for helping them. In the low gain condition, the aggressor offered higher price, 3 coins, whereas the victim offered just 1 coin. And in the last condition, high gain, aggressor offered just 1 coin and the victim offered 3 coins. And after explaining it for the child and ensuring that the child understands the prizes, we explain them the story about these 2 protagonists. So the child can see the model of a park, and we told the story about Kamila and Ola. So Kamila and Ola was in the park, and they both have tasty snacks. But Kamila ate her snack immediately, and she wanted more. She wanted to steal Ola's snack. And while Kamila was looking at the plane on the sky, Ola hid herself somewhere in the park. So Kamila didn't see where Ola hid herself in the park, so that Kamila asked the child whether the child knows where Ola is. And after that, regardless child's answer, Kamila asked the child to show her where Ola is. We've got 2 questions for the child that we used to measure interventional lie telling here. And what we have found is that the number of interventional lie tellers in our sample was rather very low. As you can see, only 20% of children, regardless of experimental condition, told that they didn't know where Ola is. And even less children provide the aggressor with false location of the target. As you can see, there were also some children who provide answer which we cannot easily classify. For example, the child remained silent, or just answered that they don't want to give any information. To be conservative, we exclude those children from further analysis. And after this exclusion, we found that although the number of lie tellers was very low, the condition matters. So we found that in high gain condition, children lie more frequently than in low gain and in control condition. And we also confirmed that false price telling is related to interventional lie telling. Basically, those children who provide others with false price were also more likely to tell interventional lie in our paradigm. And the last thing is that those children who understand that someone might hide her emotion are more likely to tell interventional lie in this study. So most of our hypotheses were confirmed because we found that two types of prosocial lies relate to each other. We also found that children do something like a cost-benefit analysis while deciding to tell an interventional lie or not. And hidden emotion understanding was related to interventional lie telling in our study. So now at the last part of my presentation, I just want to go back to the topic of the whole presentation and try to explain you why I suggest that prosocial lies might be used as social tools by children. I think that the first argument is that false price telling relates to social competence. And the second argument is that, as we can see, interventional lies might be used to achieve personal goals, because those children who were told to get a higher price were more likely to lie than those children who were told to get a small price. So thank you very much for your attention, and if you are interested in such kind of experiments and research, you may read my papers. And I think that maybe this one is mostly connected with what I've been discussing with you today. And I'm the person named here Joanna Jakubowska because I've changed my surname after finishing this work. So my current surname is here with the email address. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I think we have time for some questions.
Okay. Yes?
I'm curious about what was one of your main limitations, because you did a longitudinal study, and I wonder what is the main limitation of a longitudinal study? Okay,
I think that in this case, the main limitation is that we've conducted the same experimental, the same task to the child 3 times. And the break was just a half of the year. So there may be some participants who remember the previous measurement points. And I think it's really hard for all developmental psychologists because we always have to decide whether to give the same task and controlling for some variables, or change the task a little bit. We've decided to change just the drawings. So at each time point we have a new set of drawings. However, the instruction for the child was the same at each time point. So I think that's the main limitation here.
Thank you.
I also had a question. It was great that you showed us the procedure, and it made me think that the child seemed to provide the false praise, but also to be a bit reluctant or to show some signs of distress, or at least he didn't seem very encouraging in the false praise. And I remember that I watched several recordings of the disappointing gift paradigm, where also some of them were receiving the disappointing gift and they showed some enthusiasm when lying about it, and they were pretending to be thrilled about it, and others were doing were expressing the lie but seemed a little bit uncomfortable about it. So I was wondering if you would use some people who do ratings, or maybe just check the videos. Did you notice some differences in this?
we didn't check something like an emotional expression or something, because I think that these kind of videos are not good enough to do that. We didn't have a camera that is makes a video with the whole face of a child. But during the workshop, I will provide you some more details about more spontaneous behavior of the children. So there was some really interesting examples of behavior, but I want to say something about undesirable gift paradigm, because we've tried to do this task in our laboratory, but we were afraid of reactions, because once when we do this task in a pilot study, one child just started crying and we cannot calm her down. So we thought that it's not easy to do this task with children, and that is why we try to find another paradigm which is not as difficult for children.
Yes, especially for the younger ones, it's
Yeah.
pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah. That's true.
I noticed that in the video, the lady told the child something like, make the woman feel good,
Yeah.
do something so she won't feel sad anymore. Do you think that this could be the reason why they told her that the drawing was good?
Yeah, I think that this kind of invitation to do something to help, to cheer someone up is essential here, because as you may read in Warnecken's paper, when they don't use such kind of invitation, there are really infrequent false prizes in children. So basically, to observe any false prize in such young children, you have to encourage them in some way. But it is important that we don't say them to, we don't instruct them how they should cheer the experimenter up. We just say that they should do something. And as you will see during the workshop, they find some interesting way to try to cheer the up experimenter, which we even do not predict that that will appear. Thanks.
I want to know how did you control for the problem of attrition, because it can happen in longitudinal studies to have people deciding to retreat or not coming the second time or the third time of the measurement, and I wonder how you control for that.
In this study, we've got a really small dropout comparing to other longitudinal study. So I think that these kind of children are not a huge problem for us, because we've got just, I don't remember the numbers, but just a few children who didn't came to the second and the third measurement point. But it is a really good question, because it's sometimes a big problem in longitudinal study. However, this group is really motivated to come to the subsequent time points.
I wanted to ask something regarding your second study. You mentioned that interventional are better prosocialized, and that they could be used by children, in this case, to achieve personal goals. Were there any measures regarding motivations, or do you know anything about that from other studies maybe? And also, could we therefore think that children understand that prosocial measures could be used as a way of following their own self-interest?
Yeah, I think it will be really interesting to ask children why they tell interventional lies. And I think that maybe will be the next step of our study, and it's really interesting to find what children think about it. But as you may know, it's really difficult to do something like an interview with the child to get answers that maybe change into some quantitative data. Okay, so I think that there are no more questions.
Okay, no more questions. Then do we plan to take a little break?
Okay.
No, that would be great. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Perfect timing, it's 5 o'clock.
Really? Oh, great. Fantastic. So, a little break.